Yeah, so today, like before discussing the interview questions, like how we need to behave in the interview. Yeah, you may know, but I just want to like repeat it. So so in every interview, so we need to act as actor. So the interviewer will be, so interview will be a director. He is conducting an audition for his movie. Here movie is equal to company. So even if the interviewer was a fresher or even a less experienced guy, so we need to be polite, and we need to answer the questions, and we should not like act like villain. So we should not act like villain, that is, here villain is equal to, like, some people will just do overacting, right? We should not do that. And if you see, like, did any one of the guy, did you watch the Bluff Master movie? Satyadev's Bluff Master. Superb. So if you see okay, if you see in the Bluff Master, so Satyadev will go to the MLA's house. He will convince that MLA. And if you see the acting, he is confident that if you can able to take this idol, you will be like become a CM. So he just try to convince. So we need to see the acting. Like, you can ask me like it's a movie, but reality is different. But whoever acted, he's a human, right? Because he prepared well before acting. సో దీన్ని బట్టి ఏంటంటే వీ నీడ్ టు ప్రిపేర్ script for any interview. So working in a company is different, cracking a job is different. So at least we need to prepare a script. So we need to write down. So if we want to tell about the introduction, so for introduction, it should be at least 2 minutes, 2 minutes or less than that. In that way we need to write, note down in the paper, and we need to prepare. So in the introduction you need to tell that like, at present I am working in this company, and then after, for project also 2 minutes. Whatever the project, you need to tell about the project, and whatever you have achieved from that project, you can like lie. So in the interview we need to, as I said, acting. So we need to act in such a way he should believe, even if we lie, he should believe that yeah, he really worked on that. So for that also, when you can able to act, if you prepare a script before the interview. So for every interview it's common, even if we have 2 years experience, even if you have 15 years experience, we need to prepare a script for any switch. So even I prepare a script before attending the interviews, because while attending the interview we will be in fear and we will be in some tension. We may forget. If we prepare well, even if we forget, but if we prepare, at least we can able to deliver 50% perfectly. That 50% no one is delivering nowadays. So that's the reason we need to prepare well for every interview. So for me, that Bluffmaster movie was an inspiration. So for every student who ever take training, I just tell him like act like that. So Bluffmaster is nothing but he will convince the people with a fake product. So people will just convince with his words and they will purchase that fake product. Like that he earns a lot of money, but at the end of the movie they have kept totally negative for that character. But we need to search for a positivity according to our requirement. We need to like take advice and we need to act like that. So this is just basic like how we need to behave in the interview. Now from coming to Terraform, if we come to Terraform, so yeah, this is the topics we have discussed before. Can you able to see, right?
Yes, I can see.
Okay. So in the Terraform, like I will just briefly explain everything, then after I will tell you how they will ask in the interview. So first I will explain every point, then after we may discuss how they will ask the interview. So in Terraform, if you see, we have a provider. So provider is nothing but which cloud we are going to use. In provider we will define, it may be AWS cloud, it may be Azure cloud, it may be Google cloud. So but majority of the companies are using AWS and Azure. Google was a like comes third, but max every like coming to DevOps, first 70% market was covered by AWS itself, remaining 30% market Azure was leading. So nothing but in Terraform provider, what is a Terraform provider? So in Terraform provider is nothing but which cloud we are going to use, we will define inside the provider. It's a basic simple, if I said in one line. So in the interview also we should not like explain more about, we need to answer straightforward. So coming to Terraform modules, module is nothing but we divide the TF files into separate folder and we will call that folder as a module. That's it. If they ask what is Terraform module is nothing but dividing the TF files into separate folder and we will call it as a module, and we use this module as a reusability. So there is also a Terraform registry where you can find a different types of module provided by like AWS and Azure community. We can able to utilize that module, we can download that module, and using that module we can able to create our infrastructure in AWS or Azure cloud. So they will ask what is Terraform backend. Terraform backend is nothing but whatever we create in Terraform, everything will be stored in state file, right? Whatever we create in the Terraform, whenever we apply Terraform apply, a state file will be created. Everything, what are the history, what are the resources we have created, that stores in state file. So for suppose if the state file deleted, whatever we have created, everything history will be lost. So in order to protect that state file, we can store that state file safely in a remote repository. Here in the backend we can store that in S3 bucket. Coming to in Azure, we can store that in like storage. So as I said, state file, what is state file? Stores the info of created resources. Whatever resources we have created, everything will be stored in state file. So data source, get info of your resources, nothing but what are the provider we have used. For suppose AWS, if I want to get information of that cloud, using data source we can collect that information, accordingly we can able to use that. So if you see, for AMI image, I I have shown you the data source. So using the data, I have collected the AMI ID, and that AMI, using that AMI ID, we can able to create a EC2 instance. So Terraform dynamic block. So dynamic block is nothing but it's a loop. Dynamic block is nothing but loop. Like whenever we write a security group, right, we will write ingress multiple times. If you don't want to write ingress multiple times, you can use this dynamic block, and for each you need to give the port numbers, and you can call that dynamic block. And yeah, I didn't cover about this dynamic block, and just try whenever you do practice, just try this dynamic block. So it's like treat it as a task. If you fail, then definitely I will help you. So just dynamic block, try to practice. So try to create a security group and try to Terraform apply create one TF file of provider, one TF file of security group. Try to apply this dynamic block in your ingress. If it is failing, try to resolve that. If you cannot able to resolve, just come to me. I will also look over it and I will help. If you can able to solve this, then you will get some confidence. Okay, on my own self I have done something. So Terraform lifecycle. So in lifecycle we have three types of life cycles. That is create before, prevent destroy, ignore changes. So that is create before destroy. Nothing but whenever we apply Terraform apply, once don't destroy, first create a new resource, then after delete the old resource. So already we have discussed briefly in our class. And then after we have a prevent destroy. Nothing but whenever I apply Terraform apply, don't destroy it, just show an error. And there is ignore changes. Nothing but, for suppose if I have had some tag changes, just ignore the tag changes. Like that you can use the life cycle. So coming to Terraform provisioner, also we have three types of provisioner. That is local provisioner, remote exec, local exec, remote exec, and file provisioner. So you know local, what is local? Local is nothing but if you want to execute any command locally where your Terraform is installed, we can use local exec. So remote exec is nothing but whenever you create a new server, inside that server if you want to execute any commands, or if you want to create any files inside your server, if you want to install any softwares, you can use a provisioner. So provisioner is just Terraform has given a basic feature called as provisioner, but provisioner inside the provisioner we can able to call the Ansible playbooks. But if you want to like implement this in multiple servers. And how to protect, like how you will protect your secrets, that is access key and secret key in Terraform. So whenever we need to define TF files, right, how to protect that, they may ask. So yeah, we can able to protect it using environmental variable. We can give as an environmental variable in your local system, and like that we can able to protect our AWS credential. And one another method was we can able to install AWS CLI, and we can configure the credentials in your local system. So what is a Terraform workspace? Workspace is nothing but a virtual environment in your Terraform cluster. So you can able to create a different workspaces for development team, different workspace for testers, different workspace for UAT team. So like that they can like work independently in different workspaces. Nothing but you can treat it as a different folder and they can work. So we are dividing the total Terraform into pieces. So null resource, if you say execute only once, so whenever you apply Terraform apply, first time it will execute. In the second time, even if you do some changes inside that null block, it will not take that as a change, it will ignore. So first time whenever you apply, at the first time it will execute it. In the second time whenever you apply, it will not take as a change. So if you want to take it as a change, then you can use a trigger. Using the trigger, whenever there is a change in your trigger block, then only this null resource will be executed. So Terraform import. So if you do something manually in your AWS cloud, if you want to get back that history in your state file, then we can use Terraform import. So get manually created info. So I just written short form. So whenever if you are attending the interview, you just need to refer this image and you can able to prepare accordingly. So you know about taint. If you want to recreate a particular resource, you can apply a taint for that resource. Accordingly you can create. So these are the basic, only they will ask only these things itself, not more than that. So only in Terraform's 90% they will ask in this itself. So you can refer in YouTube as well. If you just enter Terraform interview questions, in every video they will just discuss about these things itself. If you, I just refer Terraform interview questions in the Google, I refer nearly 10 to 15 articles. In that also they have mentioned these things itself. So not more than this. There will be very rare scenarios they may ask behind this, but mostly 90% of the interviews they will ask in this itself. So now let me,
How they will ask in real time?
yeah, scenario based, like how you will protect your state file, how you will protect your state file. Yeah, yes, we can store that in S3 bucket so that we can able to protect. So they will ask how to restore remote file base. Whenever we create a we store in the S3 bucket, right? In S3 bucket, if you enable versioning, okay, if you enable a versioning, you can get back to that previous version in S3 bucket. So you can download that state file and you can use that if you store it in a S3 bucket. So that's the reason, try to use it as a backend. Try store in S3 bucket so that you can go back to your previous version. Yeah, you can continuously ask like that. Whatever you have doubts, ask, I can able to answer. Okay, if you see, depends on, they may ask about this one as well. Depends on nothing but, so if I see, I have given this.
If they ask like what are your day-to-day activities, what will be the answer? Work from office. What will you say?
Yeah, I will discuss about this, but before that I will, yeah, definitely. So if you see, depends on, I given AWS underscore VPC dot primary VPC, nothing but this subnet is depending on this VPC. So first create this VPC, then only create this subnet. So first go and create this VPC, then only after creating the VPC try to create this. But Terraform is very smart. First it will create VPC, then only it will go to subnet. But even though if you don't believe this Terraform, you can mention this depends on. So depends on is nothing but it is depending on AWS VPC. So that is the reason, try to create first VPC, then after come and create subnet. Like that we can able to define give this depends on. So in some interviews they may ask about this simple thing. I just cover this depends on. So coming to whatever you say, everything they, it's a real time. What is the day-to-day activities means, whatever you tell it like how you are doing in your current companies, you can explain same things, but you need to convert into a DevOps. So daily I will check my email. If I get any ticket, so there you can mention the ticketing tool, which ticketing tool you are using, you can mention. So if you are using Jira, you can mention Jira. If you are using ServiceNow, you can mention ServiceNow tool. So whenever we whatever get task, so if I get task, I will work on the task, and I will connect with developers. So I will connect with developer and help them. So we will connect with majorly we don't connect with developers, but we need to tell in such a way that we are helping the developers, so they will then interviewer will get impressed, okay, he is helping a developer. So we will connect the developers. So for developer, if they want any need, like developer was written the code, if you want to test his code, then he need a server, right? So at that time you can tell whenever if there is any developer needs any server, so I used to create a server for him. I need to install the necessary softwares for him. I need to give that server access to him, so he can able to log in into that server. Whatever the code he has written, he will test that code. So once it was done, I will terminate that server. So you need to tell like this, so they need to. You can tell that we have already have some server access for us. They already given a access to some servers for testing purposes, so we will utilize the testing purposes. We will give access to that servers itself. So there is already approvals part was completed. They have given some 10 servers access. For everything you can use this 10 servers for your testing purposes. So for development teams there will be some 2 servers. Yeah. No, they will give some VPC ID. So inside that VPC ID you can able to create anything. Okay, they will give some VPC ID. This is a testing purpose. Inside this VPC, if you want to create any servers, so inside that VPC we have a particular subnet. So try to use that subnet for testing purpose. You need to tell like that. You should believe. But majority in my company also, I get a new project, right? KTs was going on. In that also they are using a server for testing purpose. So then we have asked how you are using. Then he said that this is the subnet. This is the subnet which in this name, in this subnet only we are using for our testing purpose. Nothing but inside that subnet they are creating a server. And I will work on automation in my free time. Nothing but you need to tell that whatever there is a possibility, I am automating it using scripting. So I am working on that. So in the free time also you are not sitting quiet, but you are working in automation. You need to explain like that in the interview. You will do nothing, but we should tell that you are working in automations. So some interviews they are only looking for Terraform only. So some that interviews they will ask only Terraform related questions. So yeah, if you have anything else questions, just try to ask. I will also try to I will just try to answer as well. I'm also thinking like how they will ask. Okay, okay, yeah. So I got a requirement where I need to create a testing environment for testers to test. So testing environment is nothing but you need to create a VPC. Inside that VPC you need to create a subnets. So you can tell that that's a challenging part in our team. Like no one have idea that how to create this structure. So inside that VPC we need to create a public and private subnets and internet gateway and the routings. So everything I get it this task. So have done this total testing environment like that you can able to tell. So coming to Terraform I'm only telling. For remaining tool there will be different.
What type of request you get in
Okay, okay, what type of request you will get in Terraform? Yeah, so for suppose if the developer wants a server for his testing, yeah, for that I have created using Terraform and have given access to him to work on it. And whenever the developer completed his work, is to not like he just send an email to me. Then after I just destroyed that environment, that server. So then if you observe here, we are saving the company's money, because during requirement we are creating the server. If it is not necessary we are destroying, nothing but we are terminating the server, so that the cost of the company will also decrease. So automatically the interviewer will also think, okay, he is smart, he is saving. We need to act we need to explain like that, and you need to believe whatever we have done any lie. So even for the 10 like 10 plus interview, even for the 5 plus interview, questions will be same. The managing part will be, they may expect the managing more than technical. They may expect the managing power. So for suppose if I give you a 10 people of team, can you able to handle or not? They may test you, because you are going to keep 10 years, right? So at that time they may expect you a leader. So at that time you need to prepare in such a way that, yeah, I played a key role. So if you tell what are the testing environment you have done independently, so only the senior people can able to do this testing environment. You can have helped the team, have helped our team. You need to explain like that. If you are keeping the 10 years experience, you need to like expose it as a, I am a team player, so I have helped my team. You need to highlight the team, so that they will directly give you a lead role. So I have helped my team, so my team got stuck with an issue in Terraform, I have helped him. So team, I have given training for a newly hired candidate. For a fresher, I have given a training in Terraform. He don't know how to write Terraform. I have explained how to do everything. So you need to tell like that. Then definitely they will see you and they will hire you. So after getting into the company, you there will be everything will be different. So if they tell you, okay, you said that right, you have given training to the freshers, now go and give the training, they may try to ask you. At that time you need to, depending upon your, then you need to avoid it. For cracking the interview, we may say many things, but after entering the company, according to our need, we need to act. If you are not interested to give the trainings, you can simply say that, yeah, I am occupied with my tasks. Sure, definitely I will help. If he has any doubts, I will share some tutorials you can able to crack. Like that, you need to smartly avoid everything. If you start giving more to that guy, when you can able to complete your tasks. So you need to whenever if you want to ignore any things in the company, we need to ignore it smartly. And they will ask, okay, developer.
What are the other type of tools other than Terraform like providers packages, any other apart from Terraform?
So majorly Terraform, using Terraform we create a infrastructure. So they will ask related that one itself.
Okay, and in normal days, how like day-to-day activity hours. For example, for you, like what kind of work you do?
Okay, coming to,
When you
because
are working on Terraform.
yeah, frankly, tell Terraform will comes whenever there is a new project. We will create a infrastructure. Then Terraform works over. Okay. Then after we will work on something else. If once our infrastructure is created, everything was set up. Again we will not go to Terraform, right? It's a simple. At present we are only discussing in Terraform. So these are the only things we get Terraform. But in reality, once the infrastructure is set up, we will not go to Terraform. Then we will work on some other tools. For testing environment, if you need, we will go to Terraform and we will using Terraform we will create. But after creating, the work of Terraform is gone, right? There is no daily activities of Terraform. Whenever we need, then only we will use the Terraform. Daily we cannot work on Terraform, right? Weekly once, every 2 weeks there will be some sprint planning. At that time they want to showcase the application, what are the application they have designed, they want to give it as a demo to the client. At that time, using Terraform, we can able to create and we can show to the client the application. Then we can able to destroy it. Like that you can able to explain. So every sprint we are using Terraform to create a infrastructure, so that we can able to deliver a application whatever we have created. After client got approval, if the client was impressed with that, or if there is any feedback, then we will take. According to that, we will work further. Like that you can tell. So they will tell, okay, for suppose if I have done some manually, I want to get back the changes in my Terraform. How you can able to do it? They will ask. Then yeah, in Terraform we can use import. Using that import, we can able to whatever you have created manually, right? That you can take that resource ID. Using that Terraform import, you can get back the changes in your state file. Like that you can able to tell. So yeah, the backend state file data source. So what is this data source, they will ask. So nothing but if you want to get the information of the resources, we can use a data source. What is Terraform taint, they will ask. So if you want to recreate a particular resource, then if you apply a taint, that resource, whenever in the next apply, it will recreate that particular resource. So coming to Terraform, these things, but when we learn different tools, right, at that time I will discuss that tools related. So try to like today try to like see some videos on Terraform interview questions, come back that questions in tomorrow session. So tomorrow I will just first 30 minutes I will take a mock interview of yours. I will ask some questions. So I may ask some questions which I didn't discuss today to test if you get a new questions how you are able to manage. So at that time, whenever they ask anything, we need to answer in such a way, we need to manage. If you can able to manage the questions, you can able to crack any job. We need to, like, if you want to get a job, you need to lie more. If you tell the reality, no one will hire you. You need to lie. So if I tell in whatever I have worked in my project, they will not hire me. I need to tell what they are expecting. You need to check the JD. In the JD, whatever they have highlighted, accordingly you need to change your project. Accordingly you need to change your explanation interview. So if they ask, if they ask highlighted Docker, and if they highlighted Docker and Kubernetes in JD, so you need to convert your skills, your day-to-day activities into Docker and Kubernetes. You need to tell, yeah, I have created a Docker image, I have written a Docker file from scratch, I have created a Kubernetes cluster from scratch. You need to highlight these more things because they are looking for a candidate who have expert in Docker and Kubernetes. Then you need to highlight that Docker and Kubernetes itself. Then they will okay, he already working in Docker and Kubernetes, but they don't know you are not working in Docker and Kubernetes, but you are working daily in Terraform. Even though you need to highlight this Docker and Kubernetes itself, then only you can able to crack a job. If you tell, yeah, at present I'm working in Terraform, I get only Terraform, yeah, if you get an opportunity I will work on Docker and Kubernetes, then who will hire you? No one will hire you. You need to lie. You need to tell, yeah, at present in my current project I am working in Docker and Kubernetes itself. Then they will ask you Docker and Kubernetes related questions. Anyway, you will do practice, you know everything regarding Docker and Kubernetes, you will definitely answer that. So according to the JD, if in the JD they will highlight Terraform, then you need to convert your day-to-day activities into a Terraform. Like that, depending upon, for every interview there will be different JDs. According to that JD, you need to change your introduction, change your script, everything you need to explain like that. So first 10 plus, like first 5 to 10 interviews, everyone will fail. Even if I attend the interview, I will fail, but we should not demotivate. We need to collect the points, what are the interview questions they have asked. We need to remember that after completing the interview, first thing you need to open your notepad, or just write what are the questions he has asked, then try to search that interview questions in the Google or in the YouTube. Try to find out the answer, like just write down the answers. So if you attend the second interview, at least one question will be repeated definitely. In the previous interview whatever they have asked, in the next interview they will definitely repeat the same question. If you don't refer, if you don't learn that answer, you will fail here again. Like that you need to collect one by one. Then after every interview the repeated questions will continue. So even after getting offer letter, don't stop attending interviews. So some companies will just very startup companies, but don't ignore. You can, it will be help you for, so that offer letter will help you to get more hikes. So even if you get an offer letter, you need to collect that offer letter, you need to keep with you, and using that offer letter you need to show to some other company. Like that you can get so if you get one offer letter, that will boost your confidence. So even if you get a job until joining date, so attend interview. Even if you are joining tomorrow, so today also you need to attend the interviews. For suppose if you join the company, if you don't like the environment, infrastructure, at least if you attend the interview, then you can able to go to some other company. So you need to, and you need to tell the notice period also, at least gap. For every company you need to keep at least 1 month gap. It is your managing power. You need to like tell the HR in such a way, you need to convince. So if you perform well in the interview, they will not look over regarding this notice period issues and all. If you perform well in the interview, if they like you, they will ready to wait. Then first you can see in the 1 month, if you don't like this company, you can simply come out of that company and you can go to some other company. But yeah, you may ask, even getting one offer letter, it's create a problem. How you are telling to collect the multiple offer letters? So if you get one offer letter, getting another offer letter will be a cakewalk for you. So yeah, now let us discuss how to create this infrastructure in Azure cloud. Okay, after discussing this Azure cloud, then let us come back again to interview. So Terraform Azure provider. So if you see the official documentation, registry.terraform.io. So just try to remember this URL as well. There will be some people will be there. Okay, what is the, they will not ask, but some, if there is a sadistic person is there. Okay, you said that you have used the official documentation, right? Do you know what is the URL of the official documentation? No one will ask, but we should be prepared for everything. Just a moment. So if you see here, if for AWS we have just written AWS, that's it. For Azure we need to written Azure RM, provider Azure RM. So for every Azure, first we will create a resource group. So to create a resource group, Azure RM underscore resource underscore group. VPC, in AWS VPC, here virtual network, Azure RM underscore virtual network. So like that for subnet, same thing, Azure RM underscore subnet. So So like that everything you will be having like Azure RM virtual machine. So if you see VPC in AWS we call it VPC here, virtual network, Azure RM subnet, Azure RM virtual machine. So if you see Ubuntu server version, like that, the like terminology everything will be changed. So at least you need to just go to this official. If you see data sources, so the concepts will not change, but the way of notation will changes. So here container is nothing but bucket. There is no difference. Whatever in AWS we are called, the naming convention will be different. Okay, the way of creation will be different. There is like whatever we have writing the code, that code will changes. The terminology, everything. So if you see containers, container is nothing but S3 bucket. Here they will call it as a container. In S3 bucket we will call it as S3 bucket, right? Here they will call it as a container. For a bucket they are call it as a container. Inside the container we will create. So yeah, like that we will create in Azure. So I will try to write some code related to Azure. So I will explain that things in tomorrow. So how I have prepared, right, network.tf, provider.tf for AWS. I will just show some. I will try to collect from official documentations something, and I will try to update in GitHub. You can refer that just for the your reference, and if you can prepare and you can tell in the interview, yeah, I have created the infrastructure in Azure as well. What you have created, you can tell Azure. In Azure I have created resource group, virtual network, subnets, and inside the subnet I have created a virtual machine. Like that you can able to tell. So what is the code notation and all, I will upload it in my github.com. You can able to refer that during the interview, and try to remember the version as well. So let me just search Terraform. What is the Terraform version you are using? Some people will ask. 1.4 is there, right? Try to tell 1.2 or 1.3. So try to tell 1.2. In our company we are using 1.2 version of Terraform. Just try to buy. Yes, yes. So we using Terraform, we just create a servers. So yeah, agent will not play a role here. Yeah, but coming to Docker and Kubernetes, even if you are doing some updates, Docker and like Docker containers can still runs. Docker is smart enough. Even there is a Linux or like kernel updates, Docker container will not stop. Docker container will still run. So Docker was smart enough. So during Docker classes, why it is happening? How Docker? There will be some in Docker. There will be some in Docker architecture. If you see, there will be some terminologies. Using that, you can able to run the Docker container. Even if there is a kernel update, Docker container will not stop. It will continuously run. Okay. So yeah, Gnani, you are lefting and joining, right? Okay. 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 So other than if you have any, is there anything if you want, you can ask. Sure, I will help. But only using Terraform if you want to crack. Once try to. Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay. 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 I will stop. Like once if I stop the recording, right? I will show everything in Naukri portal. I will show what is your total experience. We can kept and we can search accordingly. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you are planning from 21st to 30, right? Okay. Okay. So yeah, if there is anything we can discuss. If not, I will stop the recording. We can